Welcome to a new test and teardown video. This time it's a power supply from Tage Juul A40. This one is the type A40, so it is really wide and big if we look here on my table compared to anything else. It's really big. I also got the A50. I already released a video about the A50, which is much smaller. Also, of course, a lot less output power, but this one can do 3.2 amps and 32 volts. So I think this is why this one is about 3 times the volume compared to the A50. I figured out the A50 was from 1969, so I think this one is also about this age. I was lucky to find this one in the local electronic waste the other day. And the only thing I can find so far is this handle here is a little bit bent, but that is all I can see so far. And then there's this extra potentiometer here in the middle. It clearly looks like a after modification or something like that. What is the idea? So here at the back it is a little bit funny. I think this is also how it was made in the other models. Look at the round hole for the mains connector, and this is of course one of the old connectors. This is not a modern IEC. This one is smaller. And here we got the Tage Juul electronic sticker where we can see it's called A40 and the serial number is what is this, 360. So this is the first look inside before cleanup, and it is of course really dirty and a little bit of corrosion. The capacitors down here looks also a little bit suspicious. Quite nice with the heatsink here in the middle. We got 3 of them with 3 big output transistors, probably in parallel, or some emitter resistors or something like that. And then there's a little driver here, neatly placed in the middle. And capacitors, an inductor between the 2 capacitors. So this is of course a low pass filter, and we got a little driver board here, and I bet the other one is probably the auxiliary supply or something like that. We got a little red rectifier bridge down there. Oh, I also got one down there. So those circuit boards, they are more or less the same. Maybe another little inductor down there. And of course I will go and clean this up so we can see what exactly is going on here, because it's just way too dirty and it smells a little bit weird. But the first funny thing that I see is this wire system here. Look at that. I bet this is amp meter calibration, and we got that same little thing here in the other end. Isn't that fascinating? And down below here is of course the wire for one of the meters, and it's, what have they done here? And yeah, and this extra potentiometer here in the middle is probably something somebody else mounted some years later, because it is still old, but not as old as the rest. And it's connected in series with the volt potentiometer. Well, look at this. This is the bulb for the power on. Look at that piece of metal that is bent around like this, around the on-off switch, and this way holding the bulb in place. How about that? And this is how they manufacture power supplies. Oh, how funny is that? So here at the bottom, everything looks a lot more nice and clean from the bottom, because dust of course collects only on the top. So nice and fine. We got a little auxiliary power supply right here, 16 volts. And this of course goes to this little rectifier down here, creating a little oscillatory. We got quite a lot of output windings using some really thin, flimsy wire. Really? So that will be the diodes for the main rectifier. Looks like they have been replaced. Ooh, look at that dodgy solder job down there. So there are probably some shorted capacitors here. I will definitely check out the main fuse if that is. This is brand new. So there we have it. Probably some shorted stuff. Why would somebody put in a brand new fuse and then throw out the whole power supply? And we got some extra windings here from the transformer, probably going to those two little rectifier bridges, creating all those extra voltages over here. See, and this is this filter choke I talked about that goes between the two main capacitors, and that will be the yes, this is the voltage ranges, and that will be the current ranges. Oh, after a little bit of cleaning, it's nice and shiny. And now I can look a little bit deeper into what is going on in here. And yeah, I think I want to take away this circuit board right here and pull it out so I can do a little bit service and check up on those two capacitors, because they look a little bit dodgy. And this will also tell me if I need to do something about that one, because it's the same weird one. Sometimes you can find date codes on the big capacitors. I don't know exactly how to read this number down there, but that could be a date code of some sort, maybe. So I took out this circuit board here to have a little bit of a deeper inspection, and those capacitors look, so of course, a little bit old. Well, this is probably only on the outside, but I want to take them out and let's do a little measurement and see if they're any good. It says 640 micro, and I think it's the same on both of them. And then I realize, look at the little spacers down here and the height of this metal. So the spacers, they sit in there, and you stick through the screws like this, right? So you put the spacers, and then you need to hold all the screws and put on the circuit board. I mean, it's not super easy to put this back together, so this is going to be a little bit funny. Let's do a little funny experiment. Let's keep the new ones a little bit away. So let's look at the old ones. So they're supposed to be 640, and here we go. Of course I want to measure at 100 Hertz, because I bet this is the frequency range they will be used. So we got a little bit higher capacitance, and we got this is the series resistance. So that was the first one. This is the second of the old ones. Let's look at a new one. See? It's very close to the same, isn't it? This should be a so-called switch mode grade. Higher ripple current, less internal resistance. And of course you can see it is with a little bit lower internal resistance. To show you in comparison, so this is a 560 micro, okay? This is the best there is in the world. There is no other brands with a less internal resistance, just to show you how it is when it's really possible to do something crazy good. Look at the values. that is the best there is. Let's try the first power on. I will use my vario and do it really slowly. Just give it like 30 volts or something like that first, just to see the on-off switch is working, and it's using 0. nothing. Just so we don't have any shorts or anything like that. I put everything here in the middle, and everything here at max. And let's just crank up the voltage and see if we get anything going on. Look at that, we got output. And it's in regulation and it's stable. I'll just continue to crank up the voltage. And now we are at 220, the old voltage range. And let's try and look at that. If we are poking around with the, this potentiometer here needs a little bit of love. But it goes to about 32 exactly as supposed to. And then hopefully it also goes to 0, minus 0.2. So I'm quite happy about this so far. Of course, let's try and put it for something in the middle. Well, let's try and load it and let's see how accurate it is. I want to make a little setup here with sense and everything like that. I think I forgot to say that I only changed the capacitors down in, where are we? In this side here where there is absolutely zero light. But I just changed those two because the old ones, they were actually perfectly fine when it comes to all the measurement values. So I just think, hey, maybe all the other capacitors, they're also fine. So yeah, so far we got output, and let's see if we got any AC ripple in zero load. No, it is nice and fine so far. So let's continue. So here is a little test. I got the output voltage here on this little meter right there. Oh, that is difficult. I think it's really nice and readable. So this is about 15 volts. There's no load and the amp meter is in 1 amp full range. So let's give it 1 amp. And look at that. There isn't any visual change, but okay, we got 10 millivolts per division, or per last digit here, right? So this is not bad at all. Let's go to 3 amps, and also the meter says 1 amp here. Pretty good as well. So both meters work, and let's crank up the amp. So let's go to 3 amps. Okay, well, of course we need to give it like that, and then it goes to 3 amps. So output is now 15 volts and 3 amps. So this is about 45 watts at the end of this cable, because I got a little bit of drop. And the input power is 165 watts. And this is, of course, because this one rectifies the voltage into the capacitors at a very high voltage, and that is why you need those super big heat sinks to handle all this serious drop. And it's of course also because I am using half the output voltage. So what happens if we crank up the voltage to maximum? So this is now 32 volts. Okay, let's try and do exactly the same experiment. Now I loaded with 3 amps. So now the output is 96 watts, but input watts is 170 from mains. So now the efficiency is of course a lot better, because we get more of the voltage we have to the output. So that was all I wanted to show about this fantastic old power supply. If you have a schematic, or if you know where I can get one, please try and help me out, because I think it could be really interesting to see the schematic of this one. But I think it looks more or less like the A40. I got a schematic, but this one is a little bit different because of all the extra transistors and all the... I can also see the resistors here and the way that everything is made. It is a little bit different. And also the 2 controller boards and the extra auxiliary voltages and all those kinds of things. It is a little bit different And the regulation is really, really good and tight in this one. So they really done some super, super good things in this one. So thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.